Hey everybody, should be live. You know what time it is? It's about to be that time. One Piece 1140. We are here. Let's get these likes up. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel the vibe. I tried to organize a mural summit last weekend, but schedules were not working. It just was not a good weekend for everybody involved. So, don't know if we'll postpone it. Probably a little past it, but you know, we'll figure it out. There's going to be other things that's going to pop up. Did play a little bit of Marvel Rivals on Twitch the past 2 weeks though. So that was fun. In the meantime, we're going to jump into One Piece 1140. Okay, let's see if we're going to... we really should be continuing the fight with Scopper. Like, I don't... Oda teasing us for 2 weeks and then jumping to something else that seems highly unlikely. So... So here we are. I've got the chapter up now. There we go. Okay, so we're on page 1 here. The title is called Scopper Gaban. Okay, so safe to say we're not skipping this. And as suspected, we did have Ulti silhouetted in the last chapter's cover page. It was telegraphed. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, another one. It was obvious. Ulti, if anything happens to Pepe, I'll hunt you to the depths of hell and beat you to death. Okay, so we got some infighting amongst the Toby Roppo here. I don't know what the point of keeping these characters relevant is yet, but we'll see. And also, weren't Yamato and Tama like, right outside? Like, how long did it take them to come to the door for all of this to occur? Anyway. Oh, good catch. Brandon said that page 1 is in the bottom corner of the cover page. Yeah, he's on the bottom left. I would have completely skipped right past that. I was looking for him initially and didn't see him, but Oda shoved him into the corner there, literally. Next page. How come we have to take the key from you? Just give it. Sir Ya, what is the meaning of this? So we got a bunch of giant treasure chests around. I'm loving the scale here. And really implying that this place was ransacked. So what's wrong? Can't do it? Oh, this man is goading them. He hit them with the nya 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 nya. Luffy, he feeds in. Okay, that's it. Flashback to Cologne. My dad used to be a pirate. He could even hold his own against Elbaf warriors. Zoro is putting 2 and 2 together, reminding us that he can be smart. He's done some smart things. Oda's nerfed him lately. But this is a good reminder that he's comes up with some good ideas. All right, so next one, Luffy's going for it. Tries to grab the key. Get a little bit of a shave from Scopper. Luffy looks at him like, okay. We definitely have a monkey in the middle situation here. Nya, 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 nya. Luffy cannot get this key. Listen, old man, I just want to get this to Loki so I can get back to the feast. Okay, so just take it from me. Scopper is, he's chaotic. I like it. I will. Okay, misses. Looks like Scopper's gonna whack him over the head with the key. Oh, he is charging this thing up with some hockey. And it's got some lightning on it. Are we saying confirmed? Conquerors? I'm sure the streets are talking about it. Next page. Wee ho. Is that the name of his attack? Or is it just a grunt? Okay, so he smacked Luffy into the ground. Wait, are you kidding me, Luffy? Luffy gets back up. That's a nifty straw hat you got there. Of course, he recognizes it. Putting two and two together. It'll look better on you than that helmet, I bet. Yeah, because it's the treasure I'm holding for Shanks. Now give me that key. You're only holding onto it? He didn't give it to you? That cheapskate. I like that. No, dummy, that's not what it means. Don't call Shanks a cheapskate. You have no idea about him. Oh, he has no idea about him. Sure about that? This is where, you know, it never happens, right? But this is where you want the character to, like, say, well, actually, right? But what ends up happening always is, save that for next time. Hits him with another blow, eh? This time, what is going on here? You like to talk, boy. This would have killed anybody that's not Luffy. This is very, very ridiculous panel. But you know what? Hey, One Piece is fun again, right? You know, this is the type of stuff that you remember from the pre-time skip. So this is why I'm like really enjoying Elbaf. Obviously, like, you know, Gear 5 has injected a lot of this, you know, the glory days. You know, it's like the kind of stuff where every episode, every chapter kind of feels like Luffy's walking out with an afro on for, you know, no reason, because it's going to be a power-up. The chat is crazy about this. St. Marcus said we need a "Are you sure about that?" on the soundboard. I got you.
You sure about that?
You know nothing about Shanks.
You sure about that?
Next page. So we got a double pager here. Oh, he's pulling out the axes. He's getting serious. That means he dropped the key, though. Yaso Takaru. What does Takaru mean again? Takara's treasure. Look out, Luffy. Okay, Zoro's coming in. Okay. 2-on-1. I'm here for that. What's the translation on this account? This attack though. Anybody know? Anyway, moving on. So that was page 7. Now we're on 8. 80 owls. That's interesting. Okay, so that attack lopped off one of the towers of the castle. Scopper is glazing Zoro, thinking to himself he's got a good crew. Now this is a panel. This Gear 5 Luffy Zoro team up. Is that Zoro with the coating on his swords? Okay. Got the horns coming out of him now. Oda just wants to sell merch. Jody List said, from Japanese mythology hero Yamato Takara. That is what I'm thinking of, because that's why it sounded familiar. Because when Yamato became a character, I mentioned that hero in some video years ago. So that's what I'm remembering. Yeah. Indeed. All in white. Okay, so we got the this is part of the prophecy. This is part of the plan between him, Shanks, and Rayleigh for sure. Close up on his scar, definitely looking like a flame. Probably some misdirect though. Anyway, so that piece of the castle that got lopped off, we're watching it fall down into the underworld, it seems. So that must be important for something. Okay, Zoro says, well, you're gonna get it now. My favorite panel of the chapter right here is Scopper's glasses hitting that glint. I yield? Come on. Come on. Alright, whatever. Stop playing games with this old man. Don't get bent out of shape. It's just a joke. Can't pass this off as a joke after you tried to kill us. And? Are you dead? The key you're after is in your position. Your possession. Ah. Ultra Luffy. If you didn't know, this man is. Don't get ahead of yourself, Roto. Come on. They knew immediately that Rayleigh was Rayleigh. Elbaf is still intact by the time you're leaving this island. Come and see me again. Jordan said Scopper's a troll. Oda's a troll. What's the point of holding on to this information? What's the point of just say he's the left hand of the Pirate King? It's not like Luffy's gonna sit here and say, "Tell me the treasure." Like, we already know that. Like, I don't like that. Anyway, moving on. Why would we do that? I never want to see you again. Yeah, you idiot. Thanks for taking us to the key, though. We'll never meet again. Wait, Shanks, what makes you think I'm gonna trust this guy? Good point. Do as you will with him, Gabon. So, this is what I talk about all the time, right? That Shanks is, like, he's got some sort of secret plan with Rayleigh. I always call back to that flashback during the archipelago. Sure enough, here's a little mini flashback of Shanks talking to Gabon. Basically talking about the same thing. Teacher, teacher, teacher. Look, 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 look. What? What is it? Bird, 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 bird. So you see birds all the time. It's a weird bird, bird, bird. Where? The Sun World. They even have a school. Served up to us on a platter. I'll make the call. Go ahead. Okay. Then, almost like we're in Dragon Ball, it's like a key blast onto the ground. Okay, who we summoning? Lightning bolt from the sky. All right, fine, fine. I'm willing to go. Just give me a minute. Where are we leaving from? Where's the abyss? The abyss. Silhouette looks like Kuzan in a way. Okay. We got some old guy here. Saint Sommers from the Shepherd family. Shepherd. Okay, so this guy's related to Peter, right? That's the implication. I mean, aren't we supposed to get some time to change at least? We have an hour? What happens with the other thing? You know the food situation. Letting God starve. Whoa, weird. The signal's not working. What is it? Gunko, why are you in my house? Huh, Shamrock. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. Big trouble. Who's this? Late, I'm very late. Holy Night. Rimu Shifu family. Saint Killingham. Someone with some sort of a dragon devil fruit. This better not be the last page of the chapter. This feels like the last page. Late, I'm very late. I was half asleep. Where am I supposed to go again? Huh? We're in Elbaf? Okay, good. It's not the last page. Who grabs my entire room, sofa included? I mean, really? So this is the land of the giants. It's huge. You only needed one. Why are there two of you? That's a weird trident. You're going back, Commander. I am? Orders from above. Ah, so that's the deal. The situation in the Holy Land is rather dire. It's all gone wrong ever since the reverie. Your presence there will be a benefit, Shamrock. So what's the situation in the mission? What are you doing in this unaffiliated country? Paying a visit to Harold's grave? Okay, that's interesting that they would bring up Harold in the first place. Okay, got it. You want us to kidnap some kids, take them to the Holy Land. They're too big to stuff into sacks, though. Those without the mark cannot travel through the abyss pentagrams. Okay. Without the mark. So finally we get something that actually... That's the first piece of information in this chapter that truly matters. That means we'll have to sail them back. This is why with your powers, you can make it into a game. Like what we saw in God Valley, that kind of game. Turn them into quote-unquote rabbits. So, taking a look here at Summer's outfit, trying to find some clues to what he could potentially do. He's got a rose, some sort of a flower on his shirt. And his sword has thorns on it. Kind of getting like some Kurama vibes from Yu Yu Hakusho. So I wonder if he's got some sort of like vine ability. I don't know if it would be too on the nose, too close to Green Bull. But I wonder if he would have like the thorn fruit. That's why he's got this rose theme. But then his belt has like a bird with the Tenryu Bito crest on it. I don't think he'll be a bird too, because we just saw a bird. But I don't know. Thorn fruit's my guess right now. I'm interested in seeing whatever Killingham looks like when he's not in this form. Seeing people say Kieran in the chat. That's interesting. And that explains why I got a comment this week on my video my wrong theory back in the day that Yamato would have a Kirin fruit. Yeah, I could see this being it, because it's kind of got like a giraffe-like neck. Yeah, that's a possibility. Kip/Seaway member for 38 months said, I think this might be some kind of seahorse zone. The helmet might be there to help him breathe. That's interesting too. That would be kind of cool. I mean, you can tell that this person is obviously already awakened because of the deity flames. I'm leaning more towards the Kirin. I think the chat's right. I think it's an opportunity for Oda to like explore that. But then again, if it was a seahorse and it was awakened, it probably would then look like this as well and have these sort of dragon properties. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Oh, there's a pun in his name. Killingham with the Q. That makes sense. Kirin. Because it can be spelled Q-I-R-I-N. Q-I-R. Or I-N. I mean, I've seen a bunch of things. Anyway. Alejandro Salas, member for 21 months, said, Holy Knight drip check. As a group, top tier or mid? Honestly, I do kind of like Summer's fit. He's, I mean, but only the fit. Like, the face and hair design is off. Kirinham is, I guess making it work. I mean, it's at least an interesting group, and it's a little, it's different compared to things we've seen in the past. I think that Hunko probably has the best drip, although it's basically just a koala reskin. Go back to all of this. So, essentially, this chapter I don't feel like it pushed the story in the same way that a lot of the recent ones did. Obviously, we have 2 new Holy Knights, which is great. We're losing Shamrock, which bothers me. And we're losing Gaban, which also bothers me. For a number of reasons. Because it's like, everybody, you know, that's here likely knows, you know, my stance on this Shamrock versus Shanks thing. And it's like, if you're gonna do the Shamrock thing, then you need to lean into it. You need to, like, set this guy up. So if you're sending him away, then you're dragging it out. You're extending the story beyond what's necessary. So it's like, not only are you not giving us any sort of Shanks development, now you've introduced this character that you're just gonna punt until later in the story also. So from that perspective, what was the point other than to just hype this guy up? Which, I mean, that's clearly the point. Then Gaban, also the same thing. He comes in, the princess is in another castle. Like, I'm gonna wave this carrot on a stick in front of you. Metaphorical carrot, in this case it's the key. In this case it's Gaban and like having a conversation about anything meaningful. And then, but don't worry, you guys aren't ready for that, but your kids are gonna love it. And then he disappears. So now the things that we got out of these situations, and I know I'm being a little overly cynical about all of this, but you know, it's just the string of chapters that we've had have been so great that for Oda to like basically promise that he's like giving us information, that he's building this world out, and then to do this is like a stutter step and like a backtrack from where I feel like Oda has been moving and progressing the story. So we did get confirmation that Scopper is working with Shanks. This was implied, but now we know for sure that there is something that Shanks is trying to do, that he's doing with Rayleigh, that he's doing with Gaban. And we won't know what that is. And I never expected to know what it is here either. That's fine. But the withholding of Luffy and Zoro finding out that this is a member of Roger's crew seems unnecessary to me. Because it's like, Luffy's already been trained by Rayleigh. He knows Shanks. So he's not going to be impressed, so to speak, that this is Scopper, right? He's not going to sit there and be like, wow. I mean, he might say that, but he's not going to be like, train me, or stay around, or help us, or what's the One Piece? Like, we know that that's not Luffy's attitude. So if there's anybody that he was going to reveal it to, it makes sense that it would be like this group of people, because it's the other group that would probably ask more questions, you know, like want to know more, want to hang out with him more. So now it's just like creating a scenario where Luffy's gonna feel bad later, that like when he finds out, just like, oh, well, why didn't you just tell us? And then he'll say, I didn't feel like it, you know, or something like that. So the main thing we got here is that he's working with Shanks. So we don't know what that is. Eventually we'll find out what that is. And then you need a mark to go back. Now that's cool. See, now that I like. What is the mark? Has anybody done the research to try and figure out what's like a definitive thing that everybody has on them that will allow them to do this? Because if that's the case, then it's like, is there anything else in the story that we could see with some other top tiers that like may have this? You know, is this the, you know, like a Baroque Works tattoo situation where you're looking into the corner and it's like, oh, this guy's got it. I'd like to know what the mark is. So hopefully, you know, we find that out in the next chapter or two. You know, remember 45 months said, does Shamrock need the castle circle to return? And see, now that would be good. Because I need something. Don't put this guy here and then not have Luffy see him and like, there's no point in bringing this character if you're not going to do, even though it's a trope, the thing where he looks at him and he says, Shanks? You know, like, that's what you're building towards when you tell me that you have a look-alike character. You need that thing where it's like, Shanks? And then, like, he glares at him or whatever, and then Luffy instantly knows that, like, it's not him. because Luffy can see through the soul, right? He can see the heart of a character. So let's see. But that would be cool. Like, he gets there before they leave, and then it's like a real fight. Like, if, you know, if the stutter is Gaban and then saying I yield, right, then we need a moment where Shamrock doesn't yield. Puts these guys into the ground, sets himself up as a threat for later. Luffy and Zoro need to recover and are like immobilized while the kids are getting kidnapped or something. Like, then we're getting story. Mike Locke said, Randy, check the this chapter, Saint Summer's tattoo on page 14, and then chapter 219, page 6, the sails on the ship. The Saint Brice ship? He's got the Saint Brice logo on his is that tattoo? Oh, well, I mean, looking at his tattoos here when he first arrives, you know, maybe that is the mark. And then we're trying to say that that's the Saint Brice logo? It's kind of close. I mean, look, I have been waiting for the Saint Brice to become relevant, so... Oh, he looks like the dude. Maybe that's actually the thing. This is supposed to be, this is the dude. Okay. I could buy that. Alejandro Salas Superintendent said, I would like to see Luffy think it's Shanks that's taking the kids from far away, giving him doubts as well as hearing Barto and Kid got killed by Shanks. Yeah, see, that's story. That's what I need. I need things that kind of like set up some sort of confusion about who his idol is. It's like, if you're going to have a lookalike, like, you need to sow dissent. You have to sow distrust. You have to use the character for, you know, what they're intended for. Like, even if it's a trope, like, you're promising these things. He looks like Jerry from CP9. That's funny, too. He does actually look like Jerry. That's just, I think that's just a coincidence. 3 Days said, what if it's similar to the Mark of the Beast from Revelations in the Bible? Only those that accept it can travel through the abyss. I mean, there has to be some sort of quote-unquote religious element to it, because I think that that's where Oda's going anyway. Especially when you see the cult people on Harahitanya, you know, like bringing in Brook. Something similar there, but definitely these holy knights have like pledged allegiance to something with Emu, and then like that puts a little part of Emu in them maybe, and that's what allows them to do this in some way. Boogie Smokes, is Gaban stronger than Rayleigh? Whether he is or isn't doesn't matter, but I would say more likely than not they are equal. One doesn't have to be stronger than the other. If there was supposed to be one that was stronger than the other, it would be Rayleigh, but I can almost guarantee that they're equal in all regards. Rhiannon said, I think Scopper wants to keep his identity a secret from Luffy because he's the man marked by flames. Potentially. I mean, the burn scar on his face, right, that's in the shape of a flame is very telling. But they wouldn't... I doubt he would address himself as the man marked by flames. So... it just seems like information that's unnecessary to hold at this point of the story. What does Gabon gain? What do we gain? Nothing. And it almost makes the entire scene irrelevant. Catching up on the chat. Shin said Oda watched Mulan, so Mushu makes an appearance this chapter. It does look like Mushu, and I meant to say that. That was actually one of the things that jumped out at me initially. Just seeing what everybody was writing while I was reading. I like the idea that, like, we're fleshing out some of these families that, like, this guy could have been from something completely different, but tying him to one of the other Gorosei is interesting. Technically, I wonder if... because, like, he looks older than Jupiter, right? But what if this is Jupiter's, like, son or great-great-great-grandson or something, right? Like, Jupiter has been ageless, but has been siring people, and this guy is, like, he's physically at the point where he's aged beyond his relative. I could see something like that. That could be interesting. Jordan Van said, kind of seems like we need more. I mean, we have 10 crew members, plus all of Elbaf, plus Loki, plus Scopper, plus Bonnie, and Kuma, and Vegapunk. What are 3 Gods Knights going to do against all of that? I mean, if you're trying to gas up a group for the end game of the story, then you would have them, you know, really cause some chaos here. Said this is probably the 3rd time Oda is drawing kidnapping kids. Punk Hazard, Big Mom backstory all over again. Yeah, but you know what? This is gonna be the best kidnapping kids of all. Because this is the kidnapping kids that Oda always wanted to draw. Ice Coffee said, do you think there's a chance Shamrock disobeys orders and stays, hence his game comment? No. If they're saying he's leaving, he's going to leave. But based on what Yumio was saying, like, if he has to go back to the castle in order to leave, then we may get some good stuff. If Luffy hasn't left yet. If Luffy's already left, then there's no point in having this guy on Elbaf at all. Jin said Robin, Saul, Chopper are going to be the first to fight the God's Knights before Luffy gang, question mark. Hopefully we get a simultaneous thing where Robin, Chopper, Saul, and that group are getting demolished by some God's Knights while Luffy and Zoro are up against Shamrock and get rocked. So it's like all happening at the same time. Random member for 8 months said, can't wait until you hear the Shanks arm theories. What is this now? Brandon said, do you think there's any chance Luffy and Vivi's X mark is the Abyss tattoo? I don't think there's any need to pollute something so beautiful in the story. I think that the Abyss mark will be its own thing. It'll be something, either the St. Brice mark. St. Brice sounds a little bit like Abyss. Or, be the mark that's on the walls in the Gorosei room. Something with the Celestial Dragon crest. Maybe it's something that's like burned on the inside of their bodies. Something, crazy like that, who knows. Brandon King supered and said, I need Law to meet Scopper and call him Yaya. That's a good one. I like that. DJ said, hi Randy, do you think Buggy will ever awaken? What would you need to happen for that? So I've talked about this before, right? And I would love to see him awaken, because obviously, like, the properties, it would basically give him Law's powers, right? Because if Luffy's awakening allows him to transfer his ability onto, like, the properties, like onto the ground, to make the ground rubbery, or make someone else rubbery when he punches them, like punch through their face. That would imply that if Buggy can split his body parts, then he should be able to split other things and other people. So inanimate objects and organic objects should be able to split. And I would love if, like, part of the end game of the story requires that, or that Buggy's fruit was very pivotal to the Void Century and all of that. Like, this goes to the reassembled Joy Boy theory that me and Dak Saki cooked up, where we were talking about, what if someone with Buggy's fruit was able to split up a giant version of Joy Boy, and then it all got hardened, and then that's part of the poneglyphs, and the poneglyphs are literally Joy Boy. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's a fun theory, and other variations of it. But I think that Buggy's fruit is way more important than we think. Rhiannon said, I'm afraid for Elbaf, the God's Knights could wreck the island to gas them up. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. And if there's anything that this story has told us, is that giant characters are generally used for fodder. It's very rare that we see giants do something impressive. Most of the time, they are getting thrown into the ground to hype up somebody else. Like, wow, that person just did that to a giant. That's what we're going to have happen here. Why didn't Ange see the bird? Well, they got to their destination before that happened. I don't know. I saw someone mention before that Ange is some sort of a traitor or something. That's a theory that's going around. I don't remember the basis for it or anything like that, but I mean, I guess that could be used as some sort of evidence. I don't know what we accomplish with that, but Donnie M Stream said, "Hear me out. They don't mean abyss. They mean opus." Yeah, talking to dragons. That's gonna get us out of this one. Barry said, I remember Reassemble Joy Boy. Thanks, Barry. Brandon said, by the way, Randy, the Abyss was mentioned in the Harley text. Was it? Let's see. Well, he talked about darkness, right? Within the chaos, there was emptiness, so I mean, I guess that could be construed that way, but death and darkness. Mr. Knight said Kaido was pretty big. Yeah, but he wasn't a giant. There may be an implication that he had ancient Oni blood in him because of his horns, which is heavily implied now. But ancient Onis have been built up to be somewhat impressive. Although Ors Jr. was set up to gas up Doflamingo. But Ors was fun, took everybody to take him down. And yeah. Miguel said it's a running gag because of what happened with CP9 back in the day. So because Iceberg's assistant was Khalifa and turned out to be a traitor, that's the prevailing point for Ange. I mean, Oda does repeat himself, but that would be egregious. What do I think is the connection between Harold and the Knights? I mean, there may have been a thing where Harold was willing to, like, affiliate with the government. But then was killed so that they didn't affiliate. I don't know if that makes sense to me, that he would want to affiliate versus not affiliate. I feel like there had to have been some sort of active communication about Luffy's fruit, though, because the timeline is in the same year that Luffy eats it, so it's just... I don't know. Random said could also be visiting his grave because Harold was a trophy kill for one of the knights and Loki just took the blame. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's in line of what we've been talking about. You know, that Loki isn't necessarily responsible for it or entirely responsible for it. I mean, I think it's more likely that, you know, just based off of the fact that it's Harold's sword inside of Ja Rule, right? That Ja Rule is a traitor, and that Harold had to put the sword in Ja Rule's head because he was trying to, you know, usurp him for whatever reason. And whether or not Ja Rule and Loki were working together, who knows? You know, or Loki has been, you know, banished because he doesn't want, Ja Rule doesn't want anybody to know that he was complicit. And create these rules and things that you can't go down and interact with Loki in any sort of way. Like, that kind of stuff makes more sense to me. Be right back, guys. Cheer, peace. Okay. Rhiannon S. supered and said Loki is definitely not fodder. His design is cool. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, Loki's like a main character for this arc. It's just more interesting to see what's going to happen once Loki is freed. Because it's more so like, what's the deal? You know, like, is he good? Is he bad? Like, is this another situation where we need to trust Luffy because his gut is never wrong and there's, you know, Loki's actually, you know, the princess of the arc, so he's a good character that's going to help everybody out. He's a trickster, so it's like there needs to be some sort of manipulations at play, though. Like, I ultimately feel like Loki will in some way assist the Straw Hats, but I don't like the idea of him being pure good. Shout out to Uzun Kiwi for joining. Appreciate it.
Another one.
Aether, member for 5 months, said Gabon cutting the tower got attention of giants. When they investigate, they find Luffy and co. plus the defeated giants and missing key, and the giants may blame Luffy. That's interesting. I would actually like it if what we were talking about earlier happened, where Shamrock shows up, he defeats Luffy and Zoro, right? And then the attention of the tower brings people there, and then they find Luffy and Zoro and have to nurse them back to health. That would be a little more interesting to me, but I like the idea. I did say, like, how is this going to play in a role here with the castle getting, you know, chopped and everything. Brandon said, did you see the volume cover? I did. Yeah. Purple-haired Loki. You know, I love seeing the new colors. Because here's the thing, though, right? Because some people might also, you know, if I'm saying that Luffy needs to get defeated, they're just like, look, we're beyond that. You know, he's an emperor now and all this stuff. Look, we know that there's a power out there that Luffy doesn't have, right? We saw it point blank period at the end of Vega. So the imbuing into the rope, the giant Conqueror's Blast that was able to ship everybody back. Luffy needs to figure that out. And there's a lot of characters that still don't know hockey and everything. And it's like, if Gabon, you know, like if Rayleigh was able to give him the basics of everything, then Gabon should be the guy that needs to come back into the story and teach Luffy everything that has to do with advanced conquerors. And just say that, like, yeah, Rayleigh can do all of this too, but he probably couldn't teach you this until you figured out the basics. Like, you needed to get to the point that you are now for me to tell you how to do this stuff. And it's like, if you want to go up against these guys and everything, I'm too old to do it now, but if you're going to go up against these guys, then you need to know how to do this. And meanwhile, all of you other guys, this is how you do the basic hockey. You know, it's like, we need some serious power-ups here. Shout out to Uzun for gifting a membership. Appreciate that.
Together we're stronger.
Stronger together. W's in the chat.
Together we're stronger.
Hey, shout out to Rhiannon for joining.
Another one. And another one.
Let's see. Almay said, since we need more power-ups, do you reckon we get another time skip? A short one anyway. So I have been pushing for like a 2-week to 3-month time skip for arcs. For years, I've been saying, like, our crew is not ready for the end. They're just not. So it's, you know, it seems like we're kind of on rails in a way with a lot of different aspects, but it's like the ancient weapons are really in play now, especially with Caribou and Blackbeard. So it's like, if there's a thing where all of these sort of pieces come together and people get their hands on ancient weapons, even if it's Crocodile that gets Pluton, you know, to tie that thread up, which is something that I've wanted for a long time. And Blackbeard, you know, kidnaps Shirahoshi and, you know, forces her into using the Sea Kings for his benefit until Luffy can rescue her. It would be nice if all of that just sort of happens in the time period of a little time skip that Oda would show us the key points of, I would hope, and not just give it through text. But I really, honest and truly still believe, and this isn't any like power scaling thing, this is just like a general thing, like Frankie needs armament, Robin needs armament. Like, how are we expected to go up against these Blackbeard pirates if the crew doesn't have these basic things? You know, like, it's... I don't know. Not to liken it to Dragon Ball or anything, but it's like the 3D2Y was not exactly the androids are coming in 2 years, guys, you know, like, get ready. That I think it was meant to be. And I think, like, that's kind of what we need. Or, you know, maybe like the lead up to the Cell games in a way, where everybody like jumped into the hyperbolic time chamber real quick and got ready. Maybe that's it. So it's like we already had, you know, Trunks kind of show up and say like, hey, the androids are coming, and that was the 2-year time skip. And then it's like, okay, well, now he's perfect Cell, so get in the hyperbolic time chamber. So that's, I would be okay with something like that, where we had a short little thing, and then in that time period, we understand that everybody figured out how to use hockey. And then we get these like really great splash panels that feel earned, where, you know, maybe even Nami's using like armament hockey. You know, her observation hockey like blooms into, you know, assisting her weather properties. Usopp is able to put armament onto, you know, his various special stars. Like, these are the kinds of things that need to occur at some point, and the only way to get there is through tragedy, usually. So if the Gods Knights go ahead and wipe everybody, but see, that's the other thing too, like, if they kidnap these kids and we can't wait, we're gonna be on the rails like, well, now we have to go to the Holy Land to rescue these kids. Which at that point is, hey, Kuma, you've been there, so you need to blast us over there. But then where does Vivi come into play? Because they need to meet her too. So does she get there before all of this happens? Does Sabo get there before all of this happens? Is a time skip necessitated by the information given to the Straw Hats by Wapol and Sabo about, like, what the real threat is? Luffy couldn't even hurt the Gorosei. He did, like, no damage the entirety of Egghead. We need power-ups. We need a training arc. Jen said Sulong Chopper. We need Sulong Chopper. We also need to know what his model is. Hito no Mi model what? Oda's been holding on to that for over 20 years. What is the model? There's going to be one epic chapter someday where it's like, you've got the model this, and Chopper's going to like bloom into something crazy. Alejandro Salas said, yeah, I feel like Gabon should teach all the Strats hockey. That's all I've been saying. Like, if you're going to put... that was my whole thing before we even knew Gabon was there. I was like, the only way that I would want Gabon in this arc is if he's teaching everybody hockey. Because it's like, if you're going to... Let's also put it in this perspective, right? If we're saying that Gabon is here, then Oda is trying to do a natural parallel to the archipelago in a way. He already did that in Egghead and reversed it to where we won. But here, now, bringing in another member of the Roger Pirates, like, you're technically trying to flip that on its head in a way as well. So, it's like, the way you change it is you have everybody get defeated, but you don't split everybody up. And then instead of, you know, training them off screen for 2 years, you just train them right there. I don't know. That would be a way to get the same thing, but just a little different. D. said, Randy, do you think the text around the pentagram circles are poneglyph text that can be read by Robin? That would be interesting, and I'd like to see that, you know? Bone Killer Confuser said, I still believe Nami's weather predictions have always been a form of hockey. I always go back to the panel when they're like on their way to Drum and she's at death's door but is able to sense that like this giant hurricane is coming, and she moves the ship away, and like Vivi's like, wow, how did she do that with, you know, being on, you know, death's door essentially. Like, she saved all of our lives. Like, that was like an observation hockey bloom if I've ever seen one. But guess not. I don't know. Mizukame said, quoted Satori, said, those who are very well trained are granted the power of mantra. Satori before advanced armament hockeying Luffy and Sanji's phases after using advanced observation hockey to call out their moves. Did he use armament? I gotta go back and like reread parts of Skypiea like that, because if Luffy said, wow, that actually hurt, then yes, Satori used armament, right? Aether suggesting Rayleigh could have easily taught Luffy Ryo since Luffy learned it in 2 weeks against his steel plate and Wano. Yeah, I know. When Robin did do the Demonio form, right? I thought that was armament. But Oda has not come out and clearly stated that. And the other thing, too, that's so crazy to me, right, is that for Robin, who trained with the Revolutionary Army, with confirmed hockey users, came back and was like, nah, I don't know hockey. I don't know observation. I don't know armament. Oh, I was with Sabo. I was with Koala. I was with Hack. They know hockey. I don't know hockey. I don't know a damn thing about hockey. Let me be clear. I love putting that in the videos, but I need it as a soundboard thing. Rhiannon S. super appreciated, said maybe Buggy's fruit awakening will help with finding the One Piece and the All Blue, reuniting the world's oceans. Buggy might have immense power. Buggy's fruit was the second fruit in the series. I say this all the time with my entire chest, that he will have the second most important devil fruit in the entire story because it was the second one we ever saw. And on top of that, right? If we go with the same thinking of how Luffy got his fruit in the first place, right? What if Roger's crew was specifically hunting for that fruit and then Buggy ate it? But it already had more meaning, you know? Now, the negative side to that, right, is that Buggy didn't go to Laugh Tale, so they didn't need it to get there. But maybe that's what they're laughing about, right? The laugh tale is all about how important Buggy's fruit is. But Buggy's not there, and they don't know. Something like that. That would be funny. Either way, yes, Buggy stocks are rising for sure. Robin spent all her time cloning herself. Yeah, I mean, cool technique to learn. So she worked on mastering her devil fruit, but I still wish like Rokushiki became more of a thing than it did. Like, if you're not going to teach everybody hockey, like, let them learn the 6 powers. Like, I don't know. It's just like Oda invents the 6 powers, and then it's like, you know, Andy when he's holding Woody in that dream in like Toy Story 2. I don't want to play with you anymore. Here's hockey. Oh, it's been here the whole time. It's like at that point, it's like, just say that Tekkai is armament hockey. Or the first step to armament hockey. Robin learned fisherman karate too. Yeah. Which in itself is like kind of based in Rio in a weird way. So, I don't know. Celestio M. Knight said, Robin can even use fisherman karate, so it's 50-50 chance Robin knows at least base invisible hockey, learned it from the refs. That's what you would think. But then Oda releases things like the Viver card data books that say that Robin knows 0 hockey. So I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss with all of it. Perry said, oh my god, if they were laughing because Buggy couldn't be there, I'll lose my mind. I mean, I'd laugh. Shout out to Teal Traveler. Appreciate the 10. Said, there's been discussion with other versions or interpretations of the Nika fruit out there. If anyone else, like Loki, has a Nika variant, I think Buggy has to have one as well. That's an interesting thought. I mean, people have had theories that Buggy has like one of the god fruits, right? And I'm not opposed to that. But I don't know if he needs to have like a Nika variant. But I just think that, like, we'll probably see something where, you know, Joy Boy has the true Nika fruit that Luffy has. And then in the Void Century, like, probably see something like Joy Boy's right-hand man had Buggy's fruit and was instrumental in something that happened. So it's just like, I just know that fruit's going to be important. I don't know how, but it will be because it was the second one that we saw. Now, the idea that Loki believes that he is Nika, which is another thing that we were talking about before we even got here, that there would be like, more people out there that like think that they're Nika, implies that the power has to do something, right? So I think in order to believe that you are Nika, your fruit has to give you the ability to turn into some version of an all-white warrior. Because if all the text and everything says that you become all white, then Loki has to be able to do that in some way, in some capacity. Or, as it's been theorized, like, he actually has the real rubber fruit. Like, he has the real Gomu Gomu no Mi. So he can stretch, but it's not the Nika fruit. It's just rubber. But he thinks he's Nika because he's stretchy. Like, there has to be some element of the story of Nika that applies directly to whatever he can do that is manipulating him also. Like, he's being manipulated into believing that he is Joy Boy, that he's Nika, that he is this person. Or he's just, you know, delusional. And he does have some sort of Fenrir fruit, and there's no reason for him to actually believe that he's Nika at all, but that's what he's been told. Like, I've said it a couple of times in the past couple of streams, like, I love the idea of Harold having the fruit, making some sort of a deal with Shanks to give the fruit to the government. Loki fighting with his father because the fruit is his birthright, right? Maybe it's a thing where Harold never actually ate the fruit because he didn't want the power, even though it was passed down through the bloodline. And then the fruits get swapped. And I actually never talked about the idea that Harold didn't actually eat the fruit from that perspective. But the thing is like, if Harold never ate it, then Loki would have never seen the fruit in action, right? So he wouldn't actually have any sort of inclination of what the fruit actually does. So if the fruit was swapped, then he would just think he's Nika because he ate the fruit thinking that that's the one that his father had. So there needs to be like, there has to be some sort of catch and release. There has to be some sort of a misdirect involved here. And there's a bigger plot surrounding Luffy's fruit for sure. How it ended up in the government's possession. How Shanks was able to get a hold of it, whether it was through his own like 4D chess machinations, manipulations, or whatever. But I could see a thing where Harold is like, no, I'm going to be strong on my own. Like, I don't need to eat this fruit. And then trying to strike a deal with the world government for the fruit because he knows they need it. Because maybe it's like, maybe he felt like if he affiliated with the world government, like if he wanted peace, if he didn't want to be if he wanted to stop Elbaf from being Warland, or something like that. Like if he was ushering this new age and then you had people like Ja Rule and Loki and some of these older a lot of the older guys from the old generation that's like, no, we're Warland. He's like, no, I'm gonna open our borders. I'm gonna like align with the world government. I'm gonna let them come in and protect us. Like if we need things, like we can just call on them. We don't have to rely on that. We can become an advanced nation. We can be smart. Why don't we be smart? Why do we gotta fight? We can have a brain too. And they're like, me no brain. Me no brain. Me fight. So then they kill Harold. The fruit ends up where it ends up, and through all of this stuff, it ends up getting to Luffy. I mean, that makes sense to me. It's got to be like worked, but the version of that like makes things make sense. Big Stinky said, what if the Swapperoo was the fruit reincarnation? 2 people with devil fruits died. Whoever died first and was closer to it got the Nika one. The other one is the fruit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, like, that's part of it, too. And then, you just see, like, Shanks in the corner with the fruit, like, got it. And then somehow, like, the government gets in and Shanks just goes and gets it back or something. Three Days says, I really don't think they normally ate the fruit. I think the royal family protected it for centuries. Shanks probably gave him a similar fruit to replace it for the deal to remain secret. That works too. I mean, it was just said that it was passed down. Not that, I don't think they specifically said that they ate it, but that it was passed down. Drive-by Uppercut said, did Gunko actually forget her pants in time before she was teleported? Maybe. I mean, that sounds like an SBS question that would say, like, exactly what you said, and then Oda's response would be, yes. Three Days said Robin might know something about devil fruits or hockey that we don't know yet, question mark. Maybe why Oda did not clarify. Kind of like how she knew exactly where Pluton was for 20-something years, but never thought it was pertinent to say that, oh yeah, Pluton's in Wano, and I learned that in Alabasta. Red2503 said, I missed your chapter analysis videos. Yeah, it's, it's hard to find the time to do them these days. And I have fun doing them, and I definitely had fun doing them. And I'm not saying that videos are completely done on the channel. It is a lot easier to just get everything out and talk through in streams, but I'm just busier. The algorithm kind of crushed me in a way, like when I was putting the videos out, like they stopped pushing things, and then I have less motivation to do them. That's my own, just everything that I've been going through in my life in the past, like few months and everything. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm also mad at YouTube. Like, I'm just mad at YouTube for like punishing me for taking a break. Like, I came back and started doing videos again, and it was just like, it's basically like YouTube's whole thing. It's just like, oh, well, you gotta, you can't take any time off, Randy. You can't take any time off for your own, mental health or whatever. You gotta stick to your schedule, and we're not gonna. And then when you do come back, we're gonna make you start back at the bottom, and we're not gonna send notifications to everybody, and we're not gonna do all of this. So don't take any time off. So, they take a lot of time, those videos, and it's just the amount of time that goes into making the videos wasn't evening out. And I had a lot of talks with like Chrissy about it, and she's like, well, like maybe we get an editor. And then it's like the amount that I would have to pay an editor, I would pay the editor more than I would make on the video. Because you don't get a lot, so it's like I would spend, probably by the time all is done, like 18 to 24 hours, like working on a video if I was like really in a groove and something, and it was just like a normal one, not like a huge theory. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe you would make like $50. But meanwhile, like I'd probably have to pay an editor like $150 to do it. So, and then when you think about like how much an hour like you're doing it, it's like I did it for the for the fun for so long, because it was fun. Like I enjoyed doing it, making the videos, and like getting the theories out there. And then it's just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like I started making videos, and then when I started streaming, when everybody pushed me to that, that's when I found what I was actually looking for with the channel in a way. Because it's like, it was the community aspect. It was the idea of like talking to people in real time that I was looking for with One Piece, because I didn't have anybody to talk to about any of this stuff. So I was like making videos when I first started the channel, and I was like commenting on every comment and everything, and and that was fun. And then here I have you guys here, and I can just talk to everybody. There is a fun, element of everything, just like putting a tight package together and getting the videos out. But I don't know, it's harder to justify. Then it's like things became a lot more difficult after becoming official, because it was like I'd have to read the chapter on a Sunday, spend my entire Sunday writing and editing the video with the hope that I would get it out on Monday. Most of the time it ended up being Tuesday. By that point, everybody has already been talking about the chapter since last, Monday or Tuesday for spoiler readers, Thursday or Friday for, sometimes Wednesday, for like scans. So it's just like the video aspect was like, especially for like chapter analysis, I'm sorry I'm not like talking about. I just feel like I never did like a channel update thing where I talked about like why there haven't been videos. Well, I guess I kind of did, but I just feel like, you know, it's probably better I get, you know, like some of this out. And then I'm competing against so many people that are making videos on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that, yes, I'm feeding the core fan base. I'm feeding the Savage crew. And I love that. And I'm happy that I was able to do that for as many years as possible. Everything that the Savage crew, you know, like, puts into, you know, creating this community as well. But the videos, they're just, it's hard to sustain. So then I was doing a thing where I was like, okay, I'll put one a month out. And then even that, it's kind of crazy. And then I just sort of got to a point where after not putting videos out on Sundays, I started getting my Sundays back. I started spending more time with Chrissy and Mars, and it was just like, oh, this is nice. So usually working during the week. So I do feel like the eventual thing of the channel is that it'll just be these streams on Sundays, and that's the time for us to talk and hang out and get everything out here. And I'm not opposed to doing, you know, more like theory for theories and like collab stuff, but it's like, it also seems like a lot of the other creators are kind of in a space in their life too where it's harder for them to justify doing something on a Sunday also. I don't know. I mean, it's been kind of hard to lock in collabs. So I don't know. She said you can still do OPLA videos. Not really. No. I had a lot planned, and it was it's not Netflix and everything. Like, they want to be in control of everything that gets said, especially by anybody that's involved in production, and that's fine, and I get it. So whenever season 2 comes out, you know, they'll be able to talk about some stuff then. But not breaking any news here. I'm not going to. Red Hood said, "Damn ready. Why does it sound like goodbye?" It's not a goodbye. It's not. I'm here. I'm here until the end of the story. The weekly videos, that I don't know about. That's just harder. It's harder. It's harder to justify it. Because it's like, as much as they can be fun to do, the amount of time that needs to go into it with my schedule, with being, you know, having a family, everything, it's like, it's a lot easier to just dedicate 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday. And, you know, we're just doing this. So I'm sorry to everybody that misses the videos. I'm not saying that there won't be other videos. I just know that the next time I put out a video, it's, you know, at the height of the channel, you know, we'd be getting anywhere from 20 to 50 views on a 1,000, 20 to 50,000 views. And now I put videos out and they get like 5 to 10,000. So it's like the viewership on the videos has gone down, and that's not because people are less interested in anything here. It's that YouTube has been punishing me. So, and I don't have the time or the resources to like do the Sisyphusian climb and push the barrel up the hill like I did a few years ago, you know, or even during the pandemic. So, but we're still here. We're here. We're talking about it every Sunday, because I'm obviously not going to stop reading the story. So we're here. This is not a goodbye, guys. It's just I get a lot of comments like, where are the videos? Where are the videos? And the people who watch the videos are not watching right now. So I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm definitely not talking to the people that are asking me the comments, except for our friend that did ask in the chat here. Rhiannon S said, Lelucia was based on Transylvania. Yep. So as a Romanian, it's kind of disturbing to me that the first island to get destroyed by Emu on page was Lelucia. Sorry about that, Rhiannon. Yeah. But the upside to that is that Lelucia got a lot of exposure, though. Like, it's an island that was in the Ace flashback. Had, chapter 904. Like, it got a lot of love. So it's putting Transylvania on the map a little bit. Obviously, Seki with the vampire tropes. Little Son said, glad you're being healthy, wise vibes. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. Definitely been going through a lot. Kip said, I look forward to these chapter review streams every week. We have chapters. They are one of my weekly highlights personally, so I appreciate you doing these. Right? These are not going away, Kip. These are not going away. This is fun. Like, talking to everybody, like... Talking to, my real camera does not beat talking to everybody in chat. Like, this is what it is. Getting ideas out, talking about everything. Fun. It's not going anywhere. Reddit 52. Super said, Randy, I need to know your thoughts on Captain America: Brave New World. If you watched it, I did watch it. It's been out long enough, so I probably can talk about that. I'll get into that after I talk about a little more One Piece stuff here. Let's see. Old Green Knees, appreciate the super, said, Captain, your regular analysis videos had no competition. What about once a break week happens, you release an analysis video? Savage Crew could help write scripts, and we would analyze chapters in bunches. So I'm not opposed to like doing bunch things, and that was also kind of a thing that I was thinking is, break weeks, talk about the chapters that happened during there, and that's not it's not a terrible idea, but it's YouTube is absolutely not going to push it out. So it's like, if I have the time, I want to do it. I definitely wanted to do a video on like the mural and everything, but a lot of things are just going on, and have been going on. Brandon said, hey, it doesn't matter who follows your stuff. The people who matter have stayed, so the Savage Crew will follow the Captain anywhere. That's the thing, and that's the main thing, too, is, like, we have our crew. at this point, I'm not worried about growing the channel and all this stuff. Like, would it have been cool to get to 100,000, get to 1 million, whatever? I don't have the time to do that. We have the Savage Crew here. This is what I came to have our group. This is what we've got. We're here. We talk about it each week. We're here to the end. As for Captain America: Brave New World, not as bad as everybody thinks it is, and I think that it's actually, like, if I was going to do a Marvel MCU tier list, it would probably be firmly in the middle. Like, it is as mid as it can possibly be, and it's not a bad movie. It's serviceable. It plays it safe. It doesn't try to push the envelope, which is the problem. The bigger problem is that we're used to the movies trying to push the envelope each time. Marvel seems to be allergic to anything X-Men related, and they have avoided so many opportunities to, like, do these things. It's fun that they're introducing adamantium, which is kind of setting up this idea that eventually we'll have a Wolverine, a younger, newer Wolverine, but they must be setting up some sort of eventual incursion where different universes are going to collide. But it's also a movie that was plagued by so many rewrites, so many reshoots, and having to salvage the movie that, I mean, there's so many projects that were supposed to come out before this movie that were going to influence this. Like, I'm pretty sure we were supposed to get Ironheart before this. We were definitely supposed to get Armored Wars, but Armored Wars got killed when Secret Invasion was not great. And then Armored Wars started as a TV show, and they were like, let's make this a movie, but then they couldn't really release it because they couldn't figure out, like, who gets credit for this, because you just had an entire writer's room where, you know, anywhere from 8 to 14 people are putting their own ideas and their names on this thing, but when it goes to the screen as a 2-hour version, you're only going to say that there's like 1 to 3 writers. So it's like, how does that work? Where's the credit being involved? Things are getting muddied. You're leaving hours of content on the floor to patchwork this, 8-hour thing into 2.5 hours, and then ultimately they're just like, this isn't coming out, and anything that implies this needs to be removed from Captain America, whether that was, an appearance by Rhodey, or anything like that. I don't know what was cut out of the movie, but I do know that whatever the original version of that movie was, Giancarlo Esposito's character was not there. That character was added in reshoots, and anything involving him was added in reshoots. Anything that was related to Kang was pulled out for sure. So, I don't know. I'm excited for Fantastic Four because it seems like whatever that does probably was more untouched because it feels like it's going to lead into more things. They've had the rights to the X-Men for so long now. They should have been, like, fast-tracking a lot of this stuff. And I think they've just been making a lot of poor decisions. I don't know what's going on with Blade. It's like Mahershala Ali is going to walk at some point, I can imagine. Alejandro Salas said, do you think we have a good Doctor Strange movie? First one's good. I mean, the pacing gets weird in the middle, where, like, he's like, you have this first act where it's, everything's like, okay, we gotta, teach you the ways of all of this, and then it just kind of, like, cuts ahead, and now he's a master, and, like, in one scene, I feel like there was a lot of stuff cut there. I worked on the first Doctor Strange, but only a short New York unit, and everything that we shot made the movie, but I don't know about what they shot in, I think they shot in Tibet, I can't remember the other parts. And then I think some Atlanta. this stuff probably too. But Multiverse of Madness sucks. It's my least favorite Marvel movie. I think he said Randy's my Gambit, only he already had a name for himself.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
Javits Arias said, just curious, what are the matchups you want to see from Most and Elbaf? Also, this is supposed to be a big arc for Usopp's development, but we got nothing. I'm worried it's another Frankie on Egghead. You could also say another Zoro on Wano. Oda cannot drop the ball on Usopp and Elbaf, so the matchup I want the most is Loki versus Usopp. I want the two tricksters to go up against each other. I want Usopp to win. I want Usopp to get his hammer, which will likely be a size-changing hammer. So then he'll have the like the 5-ton hammer of his dreams, right? Other matchups. It's hard to say the matchups because we don't know who the villains are. Loki, to me, feels like a tertiary character. I'm trying to think of another arc, like a comp. It's another arc that okay, I guess this is kind of a comparison. Loki is like Kuma at Thriller Bark to me. And we don't know who Moria is yet. If that makes sense. So it's like there's this looming thing of like Kuma's a problem and we'll have to deal with him, but he's not the main problem right now. But we also don't know who the Moria is at all. And I guess right now it's like kind of being set up as the God's Knights. I would say that it would be Shamrock, but Shamrock just said he's leaving. So, and when I say we don't know who the Moria is yet, it's because in my headcanon, there's some other faction coming. So whether that is Shanks, which would probably be the best thing for the story, then Shanks is our Moria for this like Thriller Bark comparison. You know, the Crossguild could show up, Blackbeard could show up. You know, those are real villains, and then Loki is just like the thing looming in the shadows. That also would eventually like, kind of help us. Reddit 52 said the rewrites are so evident, feels like the Serpent Society stuff got shelved. Not only did it get shelved, it was just tossed in. It was what was the show that had AI art in its opening? Secret Invasion, yes. Three Days said, you're certainly one of the best theorists out here, Randy. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts each chapter. We enjoy it so much. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. All you guys. Yep, I can't stand how much they exclude X-Men. The X-Men are by far the best part of Marvel for me personally. Outside of X-Men, I'm much more of a DC Comics guy. I'm more of a DC guy myself, too. So. But it's like, I do. I love me some X-Men. And we need that. And it's like, the other thing, too, is they're like going for this nostalgia thing by trying to shoehorn Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire into some stuff, and like the rumors that I've heard of what Kang Dynasty was supposed to be, and eventually what Doomsday and this other one might be. Secret Invasion is like, okay, let's do our big multiversal thing where we have all these heavy hitters back, and like, could it be cool to have a battle world that has Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire? That's fine, but make me wait for a new Wolverine or a new X-Men because you want to do this Battle World thing. Rhiannon said, Princess Komane of Lucy's name is based on, I'm really screw this up, Nadla Comaneci? Yanici? Romanian gymnast. First 10. So the rest of Romania got exposure, not just Transylvania. I did not know that, and I love that information, and that's true lore. I appreciate that. Brandon King said, plus Deadpool and Wolverine was supposed to be the end of the Fox era of the X-Men too, so what are they going to do with that? I mean, I heard that it was supposed to end with Hugh Jackman's like Wolverine dying, and the Fox era was supposed to just, get collapsed there. Or at least there was one version of that, and then there was one version where it did collapse Fox. But then I don't know, test audiences or studios got involved, and they were just like, nah, just leave it. And it's just like this hanging thread of like, okay, but then what's the point of the movie? The point of the movie is you create an incursion, and you have to move these people to the other universe. Which apparently was part of the story, that at some point someone was supposed to show up like as the world is being, exploded, and it was either going to be, like, I don't know, the Fantastic Four or Doctor Strange or something like that, and they pulled Deadpool and Wolverine into like this secret area in the multiverse where they're sitting and waiting to come to another movie, be a part of Battle World or something. But that didn't happen, so... Dave On, Schoolboy Beat Super, said, we need a hyperbolic time chamber type training arc. I said that earlier in the stream. Like, this is, we trained for the androids, but now we gotta train for the cell games. So, Cone Killer Confusor said, in Cap 4, I didn't like the actress who was Sam's friend in the White House. Her line delivery was awkward, and that's something I usually don't notice when others do. So it's not, line delivery was fine. The actress was, I thought she was good. It was that so much of her stuff in the movie was what was actually cut. So, she probably could have, been cut out of the entire movie, but, her name in the comics is Sabra, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a lot in her backstory that was tying into modern day politics, and they wanted to avoid all of that stuff. So they cut all of that out. Red Hood said, do you think one of the giants is helping the Gods Knights? One of the giants would have had to make the original circle. If so, who is your traitor? Oh. So is that where this Ange stuff is coming from also? If so, who's your traitor? I mean, it's Ja Rule. Ja Rule is my traitor. He's got Harold's sword in his head. He's feigning some sort of like amnesia about the event. he's got to be the traitor. Maybe he went crazy after, Ural died. And now he's just always on time. Man said, my favorite theory from you is Luffy being part Shandian. I love that theory. It just makes so much sense to me. I forgot to mention it, Randy, but I turned 32 last Thursday and already feel old. If I didn't say it already, happy birthday. And, hey. I don't know. I look at 32 and I still think it's kind of young. So yeah, plenty of time. I'm much closer to the other end at this point than you are, I guess. But I don't know. I think you're all right. You're all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about those things. Duran said, ouch, I'm older. So am I. This is fine. It's like there's some days where, I don't know, I feel like I'm still in my 20s, and then there's other days where, like, especially after the pandemic and everything, I feel like I'm already like well into my 40s, and I'm just like, I don't even understand time anymore. Mizukame, I just saw what you said, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Three Days said, not sure Ja Rule would work with the world government, but he's definitely a traitor to Herald. Just thinking Ja Rule was angry at him trying to change Elbaf and making deals with the world government. Yeah. The idea that he would do the circle kind of contradicts and conflicts with the other theories that I have about Ja Rule. I mean, maybe it's always been there. Maybe Harold made it, and it's just been there. And once you put it, it's there. I don't know. I think I'm going to start winding down here, guys. We get the, we got 2 hours here. Anybody wants to get in some last things here before I go? Drop them in chat. We'll talk about them. Overall, this was anticipated as like an action-heavy chapter, and maybe some lore, and I think my expectations for this chapter were higher than what we got. So this one's a little disappointing for me. Overall, I don't think that this particular chapter will end up, like, I'm not gonna, when I do my year-end rankings, this one's probably gonna be like at the bottom, if not like very close to the bottom. especially considering that every other chapter that's come out recently has been like, there's been a lot of S tier chapters, so something's gotta give, I guess. I think the end stuff with the God's Knights is better than the Scopper stuff. The Scopper stuff is the most disappointing to me, because it just feels like, hate to say it, I mean, like, it just feels like filler. Like, what are we even trying to do here? Like, what did we accomplish? We didn't accomplish anything. Just doing something for the fun of it. And then the end, at least, like, we're meeting 2 new characters that are going to potentially going to fight up against. Oh, and like going back to the question about what the potential matchups are, I do want a Gunko versus Robin fight more than anything, because I think that somebody that can restrict you would be a great counter to Robin, right? Because that's partially her power as well. So she'll have to like out restrict Gunko's ability, and that's fun to me. And then Kieran Ham is interesting, and since they're a little more goofy, it'd be fun if, you know, it was like a weakling trio antagonist. I'm worried that Oda will pit Sanji against him. But Sanji could also go up against Summers. That feels like kind of appropriate. Unless it's a Zoro thing, because he's got a sword. I don't know. Kieran Ham versus Brook, yeah. Or because he's got a long neck, he versus Zoro. Brenda said, Randy, thoughts on summers being related to the young cook's summer cuisine to parallel winter cuisine Gamakov? I have no thoughts on that. Duran said it's a setup chapter, exactly. But at the same time, it's setting things up so far in advance that I'm like, I don't know. I need the immediate stuff. Hmm. 3 Days says, in most Dongwa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, without permission, using someone else's summoning circle could get you banished during transfer into the void, or in this case, the abyss. That's interesting, but then it would imply that either Shamrock or Gunko had something to do with the summoning circle in the castle. But if we're talking about permission, then we just need to know who started it, then we would know who gave them permission. Summer versus Frankie is kind of fun. You know what I would actually like is if Summer was responsible for like almost mortally wounding Frankie to the point where he needs to finally upgrade himself. Because it's like, then it would put this goofy dude on the map for like creating some real change for our characters. I didn't know that, Brandon. Jacob said Luffy helped save Cologne in a kind of parallel to Shanks saving him as a kid. Yeah, that's going to happen no matter what. And I've talked about that before. But now in the context of knowing that Gaban is here and what happens in this chapter, that feels like that's the setup for how he learns who Gaban is that he's going to learn from Cologne. And it'll, I guess, play like the scene where Tama finally learns that Ace is Luffy's brother, even though that was also something that didn't need to get dragged as long as it did. So, but that's it, guys. We're gonna wrap up here. There's no break, right? Let's see. Chapter list coming in 7 days. Cool. So no break. Hey Vern, join just in time. I'm about to leave. But anyway, thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody that, you know, all the Savage crew, everybody that, you know, supports the channel, all of the members, the new members that joined. And since this was a setup chapter, I'm hoping we get some more exciting stuff next week, and that'll drive the conversation further. Everybody, you guys have a great week. The new season of Marvel Rivals is out, so maybe I'll Twitch that at some point this week. And otherwise, I'll just be playing it anyway. I don't know. You guys have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.